We are here with Russ Gottesman, the founder and CEO of multiple companies, and he's kind enough to give us his time for this interview. He's a great friend of the Coleman Entrepreneurship Center at DePaul University, and we thank him for that. Russ has an undergraduate degree from Arizona State, and he is also an MBA graduate from DePaul University, where he actually won the business planning competition in 2008. Tell us, how did you become an entrepreneur? What got you started in the first place?
Maya, that's a pretty large question, even though you don't feel like it might be. The way I look at it is, there's a couple paths to entrepreneurship. I think the main one, and I think the ones that I've done the same class as you. I have a degree and an MBA in entrepreneurship, concentration in entrepreneurship and strategy, execution, evaluation. And it's tiring. So I give everyone credit, especially going through the pandemic and being able to navigate both working and your personal life and then your career, but it's worth it for a number of different reasons. But I think a lot of people in this class will appreciate the fact that we all have bad bosses from time to time, right? You walk in and you look at a boss, whether you think you can do the job better, which is the wrong way to look at it, or you think that you're not getting the growth and development, which is very common, or even worse, the culture could be an issue. And so I think a lot of people drive themselves into entrepreneurship for those reasons. That was not why I did. When I graduated, as Maya mentioned, from Arizona State for my undergrad, which was wonderful, it allowed me to become the man I wanted to become. There were no entrepreneurship programs. There were no sales programs. But I had an idea for an internet radio station back in 1999, and I put a business plan CD into a CD drive, and it asked you, 100 questions. What are you trying to do? Where are you trying to go to market? What is the pricing? What's it going to cost? What's the profit levels? What's your exit plan? And it spit out like an 85-page business plan. But it was important to me because internet radio in 99, it was 6 years before Pandora. And I didn't realize I was giving myself a master's in education and for entrepreneurship. So that really was it. I saw an idea in the marketplace, and I knew I had the skill set and the drive, and I wanted to try to do something a little bit different. And I was fortunate enough to do it, and I sold it for peanuts, but it allowed me to move back to Chicago in 2002 and then develop my corporate career before I went back into entrepreneurship.
Interesting. So with that internet radio company that you first started, how did you know? You were kind of ahead of your time, like you said yourself. How did you know that this was something that there was a market for?
For me, I think the most important thing, I've done this with every business I've ever done, is I have an idea. We all have them, right? And the reason why ideas don't usually pass through the ideation phase to the go-to-market phase is that it's hard to do something with it. So I like to take those ideas and just kind of be quiet about it for 3 months, 6 months. It's okay. Your idea, even if it's great and you're worried about other people stealing the idea, they're not. And I try to poke holes in it. And at the end of that incubation period, if I feel like there are no major holes, then I may or may not decide to pursue it.
Interesting. So what about the launch of the successful company you're still running today, Commuter Ads? Can you talk us through the early process of what got you started on that specific idea? It is kind of related maybe to the radio. It is in communications, but other than that, what was that switch from internet radio to Commuter Ads?
So I was coming back from a Chicago White Sox game on a red line, and we were approaching Chinatown. And I thought, oh, well, wait a second. We all have those aha moments. And I thought, well, wait a second. Why can't we play those same commercials that I sell on the inside of your car, instead of on the inside of your car in Metro traffic, which is where I had gotten the job? You can do it on this public train. You go to Chinatown, and you don't know which Chinese restaurants. There's 200 of them. And so my, instant moment was, instead of doing radio commercials in your car as a public transit rider and now as an executive in Chicago radio, why can't we do the same commercials, but instead of on the inside of your car, you can do it on the inside of a train or bus, and they could be GPS. Because if they can call out next stop Cermak, why can't they call out next stop Cermak? Hey, come to Maya's fantastic dim sum, and for 99 cents get the best dim sum in the entire city of Chicago. And I knew that you could do it. And this kind of leads into the next question. I'm not an engineer. I have a minor in business and a major in broadcast journalism to this point from my undergrad. And but I had the desire to try to figure out the solution to that problem. And in my mind, I knew if you can call out a next stop, why can't you just tag it? So the very first thing I did was I filed patents. And I think that's, if you have a patentable idea, not all of them are patentable, it's a great thing to do. Then I started building the business plan, and I enrolled at DePaul to become a master's student. One of the best decisions of my life, because I've met so many wonderful colleagues and faculty, and I learned so much. So, the skill sets that you feel like you need to learn on, you can fill at DePaul. For me, it was accounting. I really needed to understand what debits and credits look like, and it served me well ever since, because as a business owner, you have to be strong in nearly every single facet of building a business. We just started our 13th year in business. We've sold over $25-30 million of advertising since we first started. And so that's kind of how I got started with the company.
One of the things that we've been learning about is the importance of networking for entrepreneurs. So in that context, what happened there? What made you jump over to Dayton?
So the very first thing you need to do as an entrepreneur is you need to say, all right, does it meet an unmet need in the marketplace? And I'm going to do a little cross promotion at DePaul, but there's a great book called The Book Driven. And this book outlines basically a triangle of what you need to do to figure out if you're going to be if you have a successful idea in entrepreneurship. And the tenet number 2 is, do you meet an unmet need in the marketplace? From there, Maya, it's a leap, right? Like, people ask me all the time, when do you start a business? There is no right answer. It's like getting a dog. We got a pandemic puppy. Not a great decision. That thing has been, that little girl has been a little trouble, but she's so sweet and so loyal. It's like kind of getting a dog. There's no good time to get a dog. Just kind of get the dog. So with entrepreneurship, you need to make sure that you have enough in your savings, that you have thought about the idea, and then you have a test market. For me, it was Dayton, Ohio. And so I was willing to go all in on that. And thank God, because it's a very affordable place to live. At the time, it was 2008. I started the company in the last Great Recession, and we are surviving this latest one, mainly because we grew revenues from an idea to over $2 million a year. And then from there, to answer the second part of your question, do you work hard, build your momentum, and when you do that, people will follow and they will be interested. And when they do, build your network, which is exactly what happened with us. The University of Dayton, we won that business plan competition in 09-10. We won the Soin Award for Innovation. So between the three, we won $20,000 and $25,000. We put all that money back into the company, and that really helped build the base foundation for commuter ads.
That's great. That's a great story. Can you, and I appreciate you, first of all, that book recommendation, appreciate that. And then you mentioned that early market testing, like you need to do something to kind of make sure that your hunch about the idea is right. Can you give some examples of what it is that you actually do when you have a hunch about a new product? Like, how do you go about testing the market very early on?
It really depends. We haven't talked about a couple of the other businesses I founded, so I might introduce one of the others. to give you two examples. But for commuter advertising, so the very first thing that you do is you try to find something similar. It doesn't have to be similar in what you're doing, but similar in scope, similar in pricing. And you try to find a way to see, hey, you know, if company X made money, you know, my new company Y, can it make money? So you really, you know, dive into, what did company X do? How much did they charge? What was their offering? How many events? How many ads? How many, units did they sell? And then that allows you to go down the path of, all right, well, company X did it this way. We're going to do something a little different in company Y. And I think that we can charge either more, either less, depends on what your offering is. And then you start saying, all right, well, what does the market opportunity look like? And then you, after that, you have to start adding in the expenses to the best of your ability, but be real. So the more that you can drill down to not only what your pricing model looks like, what the market opportunity looks like, I highly recommend that you don't go through what the, a certain percentage of population, if they bought it, do it in units. If we sold, 100,000 units, what does it look like at this projection? If we sold 500,000 units, what does it look like at this projection? And then reasonably put your expenses, behind it.
One of the things that we hear a lot about are the struggles that entrepreneurs have to deal with, right? So can you maybe share with those in the class who are thinking of an entrepreneurial path, what are some of the best ways in which you've been able to get over some of the setbacks you had? How do you kind of get over the negotiation that doesn't lead anywhere and then move on? Do you have any strategies to share?
I believe that everyone has this in them. I really do. Whether it's Maya or it's Russ, whether it's Michael Jordan or your neighbor down the road. I think that everyone has the opportunity to be strong. And that's what I think is most important from an entrepreneur perspective to be able to get through it. You have to have this undying belief in yourself, in the business concept, the name, the process, team. And if you have that, and you have a North Star that connects to your personal life, like I have two kids that are in 3rd and 2nd grade, it's easy now for me, right? That they're my North Star, but I didn't at the time when I started my first 2 companies. But you have to believe in your heart that you're doing the right thing. And if you believe in that, you might not be doing the right thing. We all make mistakes. I've made a million mistakes, whether it was pricing. I'll tell you one of the core mistakes I made with commuter advertising. Yes, we've sold $25 million plus of ad space. We've finished over 200 years of transit contracts around 10 cities. I'm very, 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 if we went out of business tomorrow, I'd be very, 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 very proud of the effort that we put forth and what we've accomplished. Survived, knock on wood, 2 recessions. But you need to be able to know each step of the way that you're aligning your business methods and ethics with your personal ethics, and that allows you to sleep at night. And so even during the tough times, yes, it was tough. There's no doubt. I've lost a lot because of that. I always knew I was trying to do the right thing, and that allows you to sleep well at night. So I think if you have that one North Star of, ethically doing things the right way, communicating with your partners, your team, that's a new thing for a lot of people, because what people don't realize is when you start a business, Maya, is that it ends up becoming a business. So then you have to treat your employees well. You have to, have an employee handbook and be organized and be structured. Be better than the rest, control what you can, be better at what you can control than they are. And there's no doubt that you'll be successful.
It's great. So I think we will be wrapping up here soon, and I'm really sorry we don't have the students here on the screen that would be, asking live questions of you. But I am going to ask you one other question that the students submitted. So with all of this entrepreneurial energy you have going on and the things that you're doing, what does your typical workday look like? What do you actually do day to day?
Honestly, that's a great question for me now because commuter ads is kind of my bread and butter, right? I spend the most amount of my time. A couple of years ago, an old fraternity brother reached out to me, and this is 99% or 90+% of people, and probably a lot of the people in this class. He didn't know how to start a business, so he flew out and said, "Hey, I got this idea. I want to be a franchise for a Bitcoin ATM machine business." I didn't know anything about Bitcoin. I said, "All right, I'm happy to listen to the idea." So I listened to it, and basically, if you want to buy Bitcoin, it's an ATM. You put money in. It teaches you how to put money onto your digital wallet, and you have Bitcoin. And you make 13% off every transaction. And I did the numbers for him, and I was like, yeah, it's a pretty good business. So I started it with him. And that business kind of got up, so in the very beginning, not only am I running commuter ads, which is sales and it's marketing and transit relations and finance, but at nighttime, I'm building out the business plan for this company. And so that was negotiating leases and, trying to understand, what the finances behind it. And I got that company up and running, and we were doing like $100,000 a month on Bitcoin ATM sales. And the best thing is I bought a Bitcoin at value at the beginning of the pandemic at like 5,200, and now it's like 37,500. And I never would have known that if I didn't get started in the business. So, all right, you have your core business and everything from sales to HR to people to management to operations. That once you're in your business, you're going to touch everything. That's why your education at DePaul is so important, because I would challenge you to try to get better at things that you don't even know that you need to get better at, in anticipation that at some point in your life you may need to. Now, I started this company called Cocktail Claw, and I'm sorry I didn't answer it earlier, but I'm hoping the class stuck around for this long because it's an awesome company. And I want everyone to break out their phones, okay, and hit Instagram and go to @CocktailClaw, just like it sounds, and follow us, because my daughter was turning 6. I took her on a spring break trip to New York City when she was 5. And she loved my playing at the arcade, bowling, and she loved this claw machine. And she was really good at it. I'm like, oh my God. So I had to fly a Delta flight from DC back to Ohio. And with these gigantic, stuffed animals that she had won. And I go, I can't believe this. So this was in March of 2019, in July when her birthday was. I said, you know what? I want to buy her a claw machine for her birthday. And I found a claw machine, a life-size claw. I would show you, but I don't want to take the students on my trip through the house. But I bought a claw machine from a laundromat in Louisville, and I put it in my living room. And of course, she goes crazy. She loves it. So I walk into my office, which is downtown Dayton, and I'm telling everyone what I just told you. And they're like, heck yeah, this is amazing. I go, you know what? I'm going to fill that thing with booze and cigars, and I'm going to invite all of you guys over. And they were like, heck yeah, I'll come over. And imagine a claw machine where you can take the booze. And so, of course, right, going back to the earlier concept that we talked about, putting your phones down for a hot second, I thought, how much fun would that be at a wedding? How much fun would that be at a charity? Instead of a photo booth where you got to put your little mustache on, how much fun would that be? And so born was Cocktail Claw. So I raised that self-finance at the end of 2019, bought 2 machines. I got a manufacturer to create them, filed the trademark, right? The first lesson is file your IP. And then off we went. Got 1 contract in November of 2019. for $1,000. Okay, fine, with a machine I had bought in my living room. Then in February of 19, 2 more bridal shows, got 4 contracts. And the first one, the next week later, first week of March, 1 year ago today, or this week, 10 contracts. So for an initial investment of, whatever my claw machine was, we got $20,000 of revenue because it was a new idea. All right, so then the pandemic hits, and we keep going on social media. That's why I want you to go check out our Instagram page. And we got contacted by a franchise company in Miami. And they were like, we want to franchise Cocktail Claw. And I was like, I've never done that. I mean, I've been through everything, venture capital, early stage, IP, patents, business plan, you name it. I've never been through a franchise. It's been a wonderful experience. So later this month, we're in the process. We're going to offer our franchises for sale at about $25,000 per pop plus the machines. And to tie it back, it's really neat. You guys will love it. It's new in the marketplace. Everyone loves it. We've done 10 weddings since we first started. To go back to what you originally asked, Maya, market validation when your consumer, your customer just loves it. And then the pandemic suppressed everything, but we proved the market. So now we're ready to go back up. So one key thing I learned from commuter advertising now to Cocktail Claw. Commuter advertising, we sold 15-second GPS transit advertising. Cocktail Claw is Cocktail Claw. But in commuter advertising, we only had one revenue stream, audio ads to play on the inside of buses and digital text scrolls. Great idea, still going well. Super passion for that company, I love it. I said for this next company, aside from self-financing, I want to create multiple revenue streams. So we're wholesaling, we're franchising, we have our corporate, we're doing all sorts of different merch. And that goes to, the bottom line as an entrepreneur. You spend 80% of your time, for 80% of the money. Hopefully you have multiple line items that will create that money for you. And that's what I'm doing. So the final thing I'll say, Maya, is that the day of an entrepreneur, or final thing I'll say for this question, I'm happy to answer anything else, is no 2 days are alike. You have to spend time where it's important to spend time. Split your quadrants into important and urgent. If it's important and urgent, you're hitting that first. If it's important and not urgent, it's next up. If it's urgent and not important, it's probably next up after that. And if it's not important, not urgent, you put that on the back burner. You have to be able to do all of these things. For me, it's multiple companies.
Wow, that's great. Again, I can feel and hear the energy and excitement even through this little Zoom screen. It's like, it's wonderful. And I want to thank you for your time, for everything you do for the Coleman Center and our students at DePaul. I know you're waving our flag when you go around the entrepreneurship circles, and then you come back and to talk to our students. And I bet you will be hearing from many students in this class thanks to your offer to help. So.
Well, please do, because we've been doing this for a while. I mean, DePaul is one of the best universities in the entire country, and when you're in the hurricane, you don't see it. But not only was I a student and faculty at DePaul, it really is, because everyone that you meet at DePaul is salt of the earth. A lot of us were first, generation college students for at least the undergrad. For the MBA, you focus on the accounting, you focus on the entrepreneurship, I hope, and if you haven't, please do. But it's a wonderful experience. The networking, we can't do quite as much, but I just want you to know, if you have an idea and you just want to chat on it, hit me up on LinkedIn. Feel free to send my email, my cell, but all I ask is everyone go check out at Cocktail Claw on Instagram, because we're getting ready to take off like a rocket ship. And I really appreciate you having me. It means a lot.